Good afternoon, hello, or good morning, or good evening, wherever you are listening from. My name is Paula Gonzalez, and I am the Senior Manager of Membership Growth for AAPA. Welcome to today's webinar, Expedite Project Completion with Digital Project Delivery, hosted by one of AAPA's newer members, Trevor Clark of Trimble, Inc. Before we start, I want to point out that we have lots of exciting programs planned for the remainder of the year. So if you're keen to learn about additional opportunities to connect and learn, please hang around for just a few minutes following the conclusion of today's presentation. And I will be happy to share with you some additional ways that you can engage, learn, and network over the next few months through AAPA. Since meeting in person has been a little bit difficult due to the pandemic, AAPA added a new benefit for new members last year to allow new members to hold a webinar to present themselves to the members and showcase their expertise in thought leadership. So we are excited to hear what this new member has to share with us today. If you are listening today and you are not a member and you would like an opportunity to present a webinar as a new member, as well as other opportunities to get in front of and build relationships with our port members, I will be sharing my contact information at the end of this presentation. So let's go ahead and get started. I am pleased to welcome one of our newer members and the presenter of today's webinar, Trevor Clark of Trimble, Inc. Trevor Clark is a director at Trimble for major marine and federal projects. He helps major capital project owners and contractors improve project delivery through digital construction technologies. Trevor previously served as an engineering officer with the U.S. Coast Guard Civil Engineering Corps, most recently as the Chief of Construction for West Coast Projects. Trevor is a graduate of the U.S. Coast Guard Academy and the Georgia Institute of Technology, where he earned an MBA and MSCE. He is a licensed professional engineer in the state of California, currently living in the San Francisco Bay Area with his wife and son. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Trevor. Trevor, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Paula. Good morning or good afternoon for those of you out east. Just a quick mic check. You can hear me?
We can hear you, awesome. Trevor.
Awesome. Thanks, Paula. I want to start off by saying it's an honor to present to you today and to join such a tremendous organization as AAPA. 15 years of operations, naval, and civil engineering with the U.S. Coast Guard has given me a huge appreciation for those who operate in the maritime environment. And from the logistics side of the house, thank you for keeping our supply chains open to put food on our tables and all the essentials in our homes. Thank you. Today, I'll be presenting on what digital project delivery is and how it is expediting project completion for major capital projects. We'll start with a short intro of Trimble as a company, and we'll look at a few case studies, dig into digital project delivery, the mechanics of how it all works, and then wrap up with why it matters to you. And before I move on, because this is a webinar, you can submit questions at any time in the chat, and please do. I've asked Paula to stop me at any time to answer a question. And I also want you to know that I'll be providing the slides to Paula so she can distribute them to everybody. All right, so let's start off.
Our job is our life's work. Work that is concentrated in helping you, enabling our customers to do their life's work better. From transporting supplies, to planting and harvesting crops, mapping the world around us, managing water and natural resources, building and maintaining infrastructure. Trimble fuels a better way to work, connecting the data you need to the tools that get it done and get it done right. We are proud of being a part of the bigger by supporting our customers and playing a part in the ecosystem that is the world's life. Helping you to bring, build, construct, create, and grow these so is Trimble, working to help you work better. Trimble, transforming the way the world works.
All right, thank you. So as you saw there, it really mirrors something that I'm passionate about, which is not just getting the work done, it's getting the work done better. And just as a bit of a background on Trimble as a company, we are an industrial technology company, as you may have seen. We're fueling a better way to work by connecting our customers to the data and the tools they need to get their job done right. We operate in a few different industries. Our largest is construction and geospatial, but we're also in agriculture, transportation, and forestry. And what you'll see from those industries is in those industries, the work primarily happens out in the field. The daily tasks are different and unique each day, not repetitive like manufacturing, and location is important context for those industries. So we became a market leader because of our yellow boxes, which you may have heard of, on construction sites. You may be familiar with our surveying equipment and machine control, and we lean on that heritage in hardware combined with our strength in software solutions to truly connect the stakeholders throughout the life cycle of a project. And finally, we're proud of our commitment to the environment. We're regularly mentioned by leading publications and have been recognized as a promoter of sustainable construction practices, and our solutions reduce millions of tons of emissions annually across our sectors. At Trimble, we are transforming the way the world works. First, we began in GPS and moved into positioning, including LiDAR, photogrammetry, and dynamic tracking. But today, we are a system and a platform provider focused on the value chain and integrating work processes. You and the greater maritime industry have a unique set of infrastructure challenges. Designing at the intersection of the water and the land, you have quite the spectrum of different types of infrastructure that you deal with the constant pressure of ensuring it is ready for operations. That spectrum includes everything from public works and utilities, to roads and rail, to structures and buildings, to, of course, marine construction and dredging. We are committed members to AAPA, HAIC, and WIDA, and I'm excited to get to represent such an innovative company that wants to help build up our nation's infrastructure in a more efficient and modern way that will improve our supply chain capacity and strengthen our nation's economic standing. We are connecting the physical world with the right digital tools. Mario Cordero, Executive Director at the Port of Long Beach at Mobility 21, mentioned that economists are saying there are two things that ports need to be able to do to prepare for the future. Number one, be able to predict and monitor consumer spending. And number two, port authorities need to revisit how they operate. He went on to say, we need to create more space, further technology adoption, extend gate hours in some locations, and continue to invest in rail and continue investment in infrastructure. The forecast for the Southern California ports in 2030, and this is why he's saying this, is 27 million TEUs, much more than the 19 million, which is already staggering. And I know similar growth is expected at most ports. Mario finished by saying, when there are challenges, there is also opportunity. Let's change to a model of the future. So I agree with the executive director's comments. At Trimble, I'm seeing that the future is now. And of course, not every port is as big as Long Beach, but I'm sure everyone has felt the bottleneck in capacity the last year or two. And I know a lot of you are planning for expansion or investment in the near future. I'm here today to represent Trimble, and we want to help you achieve your goals. We want to be a trusted partner and advisor to help you get this work done. It's ultimately an exciting time to pursue construction. There's never been so much attention put on the ports. Never has the public realized how important the ports are to the global economy. And on top of that, there's tremendous amounts of funding and technology available for infrastructure. But there are still many challenges out there that you need to consider. And additionally, jumping ahead a little, when you begin planning for a construction project, it's important to consider how will you maintain that asset after it's built. Are you making sure you capture the as-built condition so that you don't repeat the mistakes of the past? Are you thinking about an asset management system or maybe a digital twin? So let's start with some case studies. I love hearing these stories. The evolution of the construction industry is beginning with roads and bridges in DOTs, because the work they do is very uniform and routinely already incorporates a lot of machinery to perform the tasks. As a result, this is an interesting example of what's possible. The Ransomware bridge in Norway is the world's longest bridge built completely with BIM modeling. No paper at all. This 634-meter cantilever concrete bridge was constructed without a single 2D drawing by a design team located in 4 different countries. And to complete it, the team relied on structural BIM software, model sharing and collaboration software, and augmented reality to centralize all the data needed for the project, to share and contribute to the model, and to visualize the model in the field. By modeling all objects and implementing clash detection, the designers were able to ensure constructability and the universality of the model compared to language-specific barriers posed by 2D drawings, made it easy to collaborate across stakeholders. They used a digital design style that is much more efficient, called parametric design. This style actually enabled them to model 200,000 rebars digitally first, so that they ensured there were no errors when it came to construction. This is a central theme of digital project delivery, building the design to a high level of detail in a 3D model to ensure errors get solved digitally, not after concrete has been poured. And this is another great example. This 17-mile-long Norwegian road project, which opened after 26 months of construction, the project completed at a total cost of $657 million. It was both cheaper and faster implemented than originally planned. The road opened 3 months ahead of schedule, and it was $167 million in shared savings, which is 25% cost savings and over 10% time savings. On a project of this magnitude, that's really impressive. This was all achieved using a common data environment tool that enabled the owner, the designer, and the contractor to share risks and rewards equally. Along with other connected construction technology like geospatial, machine guidance, and augmented reality, the team was incentivized to work together to see real dollar benefits at the end. And this is the direction, as I mentioned, that all our DOTs are going with 3D digital delivery and as-builts. Another key component of digital project delivery is understanding that the style of contracts we are typically using are holding us back. If we truly want a partnership, then we need a contract style that mimics the shared risk and reward model we see here. And as you can see, adjusting your contract style and adopting the right technology can potentially get you 25% cost savings and 10% time savings. How amazing would that be? To better understand the machine control side of digital project delivery, I want to talk about Veet. They are a technology progressive site prep and civil construction specialty contractor in Minnesota. Because they have 100 to 120 projects going at any given time, their goal was to streamline connections between people, processes, and equipment. So they have machine control technology on dozers, excavators, motor graders, and skid steers. Their GPS-guided machine control systems, base stations, rovers, and total stations are connected to the cloud. Connect the office and the field. And like most contractors, they create 3D models in the office and then wirelessly transfer models to the site, as well as get real-time progress and productivity updates, such as cut and fill volumes and compaction data back to the office. Veet obviously sees value in using this technology, but how does it benefit the owner as well? Well, they have the ability to capture production data per dozer, to see how much quantity was moved per day, and then compare load counts and production quantities. This is how they stay on budget and on timeline. Because of these digital processes, onboarding is much faster as well. And they even have access tools like remote assist to walk through a process from the office with the operator in the cab. So they have less downtime and can hire much quicker as well. In the end, all of this benefits the owner of the asset because the job gets done quicker, better, and cheaper. Located about 30 miles northwest of Portland, Oregon, the Port of Kalama sits on the Columbia River. The port's industrial area includes 5 miles of riverfront property adjacent to the 43-foot federally maintained deep draft navigation channel of the Columbia River. Handling well over 13 million metric tons of bulk commodities, it's one of the West's largest bulk export gateways. And the marina includes permanent moorage slips, a 2-lane boat launch, and 140 feet of guest moorage. To meet growing demand, the Port of Kalama looked to build a new 550-foot-long guest dock, including utilities and new access gangways on the east side of the marina. Heavy Civil and Marine Construction Specialist Advanced American Construction, AAC, was contracted to complete the project, which had 3 major components: marina dredging, pile driving to support the dock, and dock construction. Evan Clemson, Vice President of Operations at AAC, said, "We realized before we bid the project that tracking in-progress dredge productions would be critical to the success of the project. We engaged the Trimble marine dealer Measuretronics to help us combine the best equipment, technology, and workflow for success. And as a result, 15 to 20% dredging savings than conventional methods, which ended up being over $100,000, and improved pile driving accuracy to around 2 inches, and more collaborative communication with the port owner." So we've worked on a number of rail projects as well, from Caltrans, BNSF, Union Pacific, CSX, Norfolk Southern, and California and Texas high-speed rail, and several in Europe as well. Trimble's rail solutions combine the latest technologies with customized software and wireless communications to maintain and construct rail infrastructure and manage rail transport assets. We use integrated processes and workflows for complete rail infrastructure and lifecycle management of rail transport assets, from planning, design, construction to operation, maintenance, and repair. Our services and solutions help to streamline operations to keep rail projects on time and cost on target. But construction technology is not just for civil projects. My last case study today is the Museum of the Future in the UAE. BAM is one of Europe's largest contractors, and they worked on this project with a number of others, including Eversendai as the engineer. The team said without Trimble, they could not have built this building due to its complexity. And look at it. I'm sure you can understand that. And this is a good segue as we start to talk less about the machines and more about the software and digital processes. Some of the highlights of this project: Trimble solutions were used to do the detailing of the structures. We provided a collaboration solution and a common data environment for the team to work through challenges and coordination. Augmented reality and virtual reality was used for virtual walkthroughs to check complexities and coordinate installation. Scanners were used to compare as-built against the model. And building performance simulation was used to achieve the LEED Platinum certification, helping the stakeholders reduce 45% water usage in the project, along with 25% reduction in total energy. In the end, because of the digital project delivery strategy, not only were they able to actually build the thing, they saw a 65% reduction in rework and 50% improvement in productivity. Pretty impressive. And Paula, I did just want to pause here for a second and say, if anybody has any questions or comments on these case studies, I don't think I can actually see the chat for questions. So just wanted to pause for a second.
I'm not seeing any questions at the moment.
Okay. All right. Well, I will keep going then.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll let you know. I'll jump in if I see any questions.
Sounds good. Thanks, Paula.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you have a good visual for what occurs on the modern construction worksite, I want to introduce you to a Trimble term called the Construction Continuum. And the image you see on the right, that is the Construction Continuum. Here we see a project as a continuum. It's a cycle that should be connected, but is too often siloed. And through our technology, we are connecting it by centralizing data between stakeholders and across phases. We're bridging the gap between design and construction, and we are capturing digital information about the project for future use. In the image, you can see the different phases of a project around the perimeter, and all linking back to a central model in the middle. This is how you build a smart technology ecosystem. We are digitally connecting the phases of a project through a central model housed in a collaborative BIM environment. Our software is called Quadri. I'll mention it a few times, but these models are proven to vastly improve processes and can be used to capture 4D scheduling data, 5D cost data, and 6D project lifecycle management data. Having a data-rich digital model facilitates and streamlines the flow of information between the office and the field, improving and modernizing owner-to-contractor lifecycle partnering. Connection and collaboration are key to this concept. And as an example of connected technologies, Trimble supports over 500,000 connected machines and instruments in the field. We power over 43 million 3D designers worldwide, and we're hosting over 11 million Trimble Connect users and 75 million collaborative files. The network effects and its benefits are becoming real in construction. You can see here all the different office, field, and administrative components that are being connected. In fact, we think the increased use of BIM collaboration software will enable connected construction technologies to demonstrate that civil construction projects, as opposed to buildings, could leapfrog the productivity gains achieved in vertical projects using building information modeling. We're already seeing these productivity gains with our early adopters in the transportation sector, and this is due in large part to the highly mechanized process of constructing large projects and the ability for those machines to seamlessly consume and execute a digital model, avoiding the productivity nightmare of creating 2D plan sets from the 3D design, which is still pervasive on vertical projects. These connected construction technologies are really moving the needle on large projects, largely by reducing change orders by up to 80% and reducing overall project costs by 10 to 20%. And the key to success is connecting the office and the field. This is where the breakdown occurs all too often, and this is especially true on large civil projects. It is far too common for constructors to get design models from owners that are not constructable. What this means is that the design was not done to the level of detail necessary to feed machine controls, or doesn't have enough information embedded for fabrication and assembly. To add some context to what I'm saying, you can see in this photo a grader that is outfitted with masts on either side, meaning it is set up to execute a digital model that is downloaded into its central computer based on its GPS position. The masts have GPS receivers on them that automatically help control the blade to vastly increase efficiency over a pure manual operation. Almost all types of machinery now have these capabilities through the Trimble connected ecosystem. For example, a contractor's earth moving and paving machines can use sensors to live track their progress and other vital details, such as asphalt compaction values, utility locations, and material surface thickness. This data is fed back into the model, which is accessible by all stakeholders to monitor progress and resolve disputes quickly within a collaborative model environment. Innovations like digital as-builts allow for increased collaboration among all stakeholders throughout the design and construction phases. And building information modeling is a valuable tool in this data-driven process, which results in benefits before and during construction, such as reduced rework and change orders and improved asset management workflows, while also providing benefits post-construction, such as access to historical information and project data, which facilitates more informed maintenance and asset management decisions, thereby reducing the cost of operations. In this slide, you can see the stages of adoption of the as-built model for Constructable BIM. It's likely that most of you are at Bim Level 1, as 3D models are used throughout the design process. If we were to implement a collaborative BIM software like Quadri, paired with your existing systems, you could surpass Level 2, even reaching the beginning stages of Bim Level 3. I mentioned a few projects from Norway earlier, and that's because the experience of the Norwegian Public Roads Administration makes a strong case for the adoption of this innovative technology for infrastructure projects. The Norwegian Public Roads Administration has been a driving force in the use of Constructable BIM. In 2012, Norway published a design model manual for road projects called the Handbook V770. As a leading owner-operator, they made Bim Level 2 widespread in transportation projects utilizing 3D collaboration models that are multidisciplined, employing virtual reality, visualization, and project collaboration. And they relied on our tool to create this as-built environment. Now, Norway is progressing towards Bim Level 3, where there is a common central database model which is instantly updated, not for just one project, but for an entire program. Through the use of BIM, the Norwegian Public Roads Administration has experienced significant cost reductions in the form of fewer errors and a reduced number of change orders. In addition, there have been fewer conflicts among all parties involved in the infrastructure projects, working from the as-built model as a single information source, resulting in a better overall understanding of the project. In comparison, some drawing-based projects can have hundreds of change orders, resulting in higher costs. I'm sure you're familiar with. So a little more on BIM collaboration software, like Trimble Quadri. It can drive significant improvements in cost control, in safety, and quality. By creating a common data environment for project owners, engineers, and contractors, it provides unparalleled transparency and traceability of projects and critical data. With easy and centralized access to vital project information, you, the owner, is able to realize meaningful improvements to schedules and budgets and efficiencies throughout the asset lifecycle. It enables designers and constructors to work closer together earlier in the process, and this matters because this is how you will identify design issues earlier in the process and avoid rework, resulting in a vastly improved outcome. If changes need to be made, there are bidirectional connectors to most commonly used design softwares, including Autodesk and Bentley, that allow you to quickly make the desired changes in your tool of choice. There are even public portals that allow for community engagement and feedback. This model will also serve as a digital twin for the constructed asset, as it provides the most complete record of what was constructed inside the model. The model is made to be administered for asset management by the owner, just how the Norwegian Public Road Administration uses it. And for those of you familiar with design softwares, digital project delivery does not mean you need to stop using your favorite tool. Far from it. The connectors actually encourage their use. And to dig into the connectors just a little more, Quadri has connectors to all the most current Bentley and Autodesk tools like Open Roads Designer, Civil 3D, Revit, and ProjectWise. We also have connectors for structural softwares like Revit and Tekla, and architectural tools like SketchUp. The magic of collaborative BIM is not to change the way you do your designs, it's to bring everyone and everything together. And so if you're familiar with the different design and architectural tools out there, you'll recognize these logos. And in many respects, depending on what the job is, who the engineer is, what the type of asset is, what you see here is how assets are being maintained and designed. Collaborative BIM is a data aggregator. It allows you to bring it all together, regardless of the format or file type. This ensures that asset owners have access to project data and historical information to make better and faster maintenance and management decisions, reducing the cost of operations. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could begin your maintenance and operations of an asset with an accurate design as-built of what has occurred on that asset in the past? I know I had dreams of this when I was a chief of construction. So Trimble is able to accommodate full digital project delivery because of our technology ecosystem of field and office solutions that cover the entirety of the construction process from planning through operations. On the left, you can see the divide between field and office solutions. And then across the top is the phases of a project. As you may have noticed, we've seen the best results when these products are utilized by the entire project team, the owner, the designer, and the contractor, enabling vastly improved data flow and communication. By fully leveraging these technologies, we're helping everyone involved in a project get their job done easier and better. For example, these connected construction tools can save design engineers up to 30% of your time. The tools have reduced rework by up to 50% and have saved total building costs of 10% and operating costs of up to 20%. These numbers are staggering, but they are real and they're achievable. You've likely heard of a few of our solutions. In the design world, leveraging TVC for constructable models, Tekla for parametric modeling and analysis, and SketchUp for architectural rendering. Construction managers, the use of our augmented and mixed reality devices like Sight Vision and the HoloLens, and program managers, eBuilder and Quadri. Project controls, the use of Quest to create estimates from the 3D model rather than the 2D designs, and operations and maintenance, the use of CityWorks. And so I'll mention two of our solutions that I'm pretty excited about. By leveraging the design model or another application, you now have the ability to leverage live virtual models, and our tools are called Sight Vision on the left and XR10 with Microsoft HoloLens on the right. These technologies are what enabled some of the case study successes earlier in my presentation. In addition to those examples, these technologies have been used by Caltrans to identify design errors like bridge abutments that protrude into a road and unexpected impaired visibility on locks. In both of these instances, the design was altered before concrete was poured, avoiding expensive changes later on. And as the former chief of construction, I was blown away by this slide the first time I saw it. Have you ever wanted to know more about what was going on daily with your projects? What if you could get KPIs direct from machines on productivity, mass haul, machine utilization, or even carbon emissions? The technology is here today that you can get these KPIs from your contractors. The future is now. Ask yourself, what information or data could have prevented your last project delay? Make sure you build that into your contract for your next project. And so as we get towards the end, I'd like to apply what we have discussed to an actual port project. And I'm going to pick on Long Beach for this. These are the 13 phases of the Port of Long Beach Pier B Ondock Rail Support Facility project. This is a large project, no question, and it covers a lot of different types of infrastructure and types of work. Most don't realize that solutions exist to tie almost every type of work together and link it to the central model. That is what I'm trying to show here. I categorized each work type and then grouped them by the type of digital solution that would enable a more efficient workflow. And as you can see, what links them all is collaborative BIM, also called the Common Data Environment. That is what takes productivity up a notch, the power behind digital delivery, and that gives us one model that is a single source of truth for the project and for asset management. The model also holds the data from design through construction and supports the creation of the digital as-build that the owner values for operating the asset. What will this do for you? Transparency amongst your stakeholders, visibility of all information in one location, and predictable costs, resulting in reduction of project portfolio risk, reduced change orders, and finally reduced rework because design issues get solved in the model, not on the job site after concrete has been poured. Ultimately, digital delivery gives you control. It enables you to buy down schedule risk, and it gives you more control over project completion to deliver the best asset with the limited funding that you have. And Paula, I'll pause here one more time. Are there any questions, or does anybody have any questions so far?
It does look like we have a couple of questions. One person asks here, this is all pretty exciting. What technology here are you most excited about? And I'm interested to hear this too.
Yeah, Paula, that is a good question. So I personally really like and I'll caveat this by saying, when I was a chief of construction, I was a technology denier with respect to augmented reality and mixed reality. I thought it was silly, right? I was was like, what are we're bringing video games onto a construction site? That doesn't make a lot of sense. But as I started to think about it and learn about the technology more and think about complex projects, and as we get in and the advantages of BIM and 3D models, just how important mixed reality and augmented reality devices are, because they give you a window into what you're building when you're on the site. And that is truly remarkable. The ability, if you visualize a building, you go into the building and you're looking at the screen, you can see what it's supposed to look like, and you can immediately see if it's not built that way. Or if you're out on, an earthworks site or a civil project, you're standing there looking at the project itself, and you're looking at the screen of what it should be, and you can see the underground utilities. You can see where the water lines are, where the sewage lines are, where walls and embankments are or should be, right? And that's truly amazing, because we're escaping that 2D paper drawing world, which has really constrained us. It has constrained the progress of the industry. So hopefully that kind of answered your question.
Yeah. Here's another question. You mentioned that most breakdowns occur between design and construction. Why is this?
Yeah, that's a good one. There's a couple answers to that. So one is the contractual system that we have, where oftentimes the design will be done by one stakeholder and construction will be done by another stakeholder, and they are contractually obligated to almost not be partners, right? And a lot of the times the way that it looks from a business perspective is you almost want to find errors in order to make up your profit margins. So that's really unfortunate. Also, by not using by not using models where you can truly create the 3D rendering of what you want, and by relying on 2D paper, you're just much more likely to encounter errors, right? Because you haven't actually built it yet in a virtual space. And if you build it in a virtual space, you can be sure that you found the errors prior to, and you're going to have a much more collegial relationship and truly bridge that gap between design and construction.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Thanks, Paula. Cool. I do have a few more slides. I can keep going, but are there any other questions right now?
No, it was just those two. Go ahead.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, Paula. All right. All right. So we're in the home stretch now. Just a few more slides. I wanted to mention cyber, sustainability, and funding opportunities and how to get started. So most of you are probably feeling the heat from the recent hacks, SolarWinds and Colonial Pipeline. I know that the Port of Los Angeles is attacked 5 times per second on average. Cybersecurity is serious business. And at Mobility 21, David Libatique, Deputy Executive Director of the Port of Los Angeles, said, "We need to keep a solutions-oriented state of mind to solving our current supply chain challenges." So I show this slide just to say to you, Trimble has a long history in the technology industry, and we have always taken cybersecurity very seriously, and we always will. So digital project delivery is not just about getting rid of paper for the sake of it. We're pursuing it for the right reasons. Both the construction and agriculture industry are some of the largest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions. And at Trimble, we are trying to make these industries more efficient. And our work is already proven to reduce emissions and reduce waste in construction. To show our commitment to sustainability, Trimble will be partnering with AAPA to produce a desk guide to the Maritime Environmental and Technical Assistance Program, META, which promotes research and demonstration of emerging technologies and processes that improve maritime sustainability. You'll see this come out next year. And I'm sure you are all generally aware of the investments coming to infrastructure. With the help of AAPA, this should help you understand what is available specifically for ports. The light green is FY21, dark blue is FY22, and turquoise is the expected funding from IIJA. So first is PIDP. This is an exclusive grant program for ports. Last year was 230 million, and it might be 750 million this year. You must be a public entity and often in partnership with a private company for this one. Also is Raise, Infra, and Chrissy. They're not exclusive to ports, but ports are eligible. It's for freight infrastructure, trucking, rail, highway, and ports. And Chrissy is exclusively for rail infrastructure. And so not shown on here, the budget reconciliation partisan bill may provide an additional 2.5 billion for PIDP and 3.5 billion for port electrification. And the meta program within MARAD will provide another potential $100 million infusion. And so I know some of the larger ports have grant writers on staff, but the majority of member ports likely do not. And because of Trimble's commitment to infrastructure development and our recognition that just gaining access to funding is a common barrier to entry, we have grant writers on staff who can help you with your pursuit of funding. We want to help you get the funding that is out there, especially when IIJA is passed, and we want to be a resource and trusted advisor for you. So are you ready to transform the way you work? Change is admittedly easier said than done. I understand that. There's a saying that the way you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. And the same is for leveraging a connected construction process. So first, identify your objectives. Good would be implementing technology to automate an existing process. Better would be improving the process. And best would be implementing technology to meet a strategic business driver. So to get started, it's important to think about identifying your objectives. There are a lot of advantages to digital project delivery. Which ones are most important to you and why? And so the second step is ready the organization. Do you have a multi-year strategic plan? Is it understood by your team and leadership? Will you invest and train your people? This is not technology alone. How will you invest in your people? Advancing their skill sets and providing support. Let me exaggerate this example for a moment. There had been a trend to start a new department called the VDC division, the Virtual Design and Construction Division. Now, unfortunately, by just starting a new division, this really drives fragmentation and an environment of new process and old process. You do 2D, I'll do 3D. The goal is not to build another department, but to advance the skill sets of your team. And finally, is the change adoptable by your organization? And so third, get purposeful with driving a data strategy. Our customers who reported improved data gathering and analysis saw benefits around expedited project timelines, better budget compliance, improved productivity, and improved safety. And these are some of my favorite questions to think about. So let's start with, what questions do you want to answer? What business problems do you want to solve? I want to say thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, please throw them in the chat, or any additional questions, please throw them in the chat. Other than that, I'll hand the mic back over to you, Paula.
It looks like there are a couple more questions in the chat. You mentioned that some departments of transportation are already using this technology. Which ones are using it?
Yeah, so we're having quite a bit of success. So the technology specifically that I'll talk about is the Quadri, the collaborative BIM technology, which was brought over to the United States earlier this year. So it's been in Norway, as I mentioned, for a long time, and it's been used in Europe for a long time. But we just brought it over to the US earlier this year, and we've already got, let's see, Florida, California, Minnesota, New Mexico, and Kentucky are all trying it out. And so far they really like it. They do.
That's great.
They're seeing big, not just from schedule perspective, but they're seeing big cost savings already too.
Wow, well, that's wonderful. Another question that I see, is there a project size requirement to try digital project delivery?
Yeah, good question. So there's not necessarily, and obviously I mentioned a lot of different technologies. Some are Trimble, some are not Trimble. There really are a lot of advantages to just starting to embark on the digital transformation within your construction and your facility engineering mission set. When we're looking at coming in to do a full kind of breakdown of a digital project strategy, we are typically starting in the 50 million and above. That's usually where we kind of draw the line for, this is the size of project where you're really going to be able to leverage all the different technology, and odds are that your contractor is already using this technology as well, as is the engineer, right? Because it's always a team effort. You've always got the owner, the engineer, and the contractor. And to really see these benefits, you've got to have everybody on board.
Mm-hmm. And last question that I see here, I saw that Trimble has a partnership with the Boston Dynamics dog. Is it related to this topic?
Yeah, that's kind of a cool one. So that's the Boston Dynamics Spot, the dog. So what we have done is there has been a lot of interest in bringing robotics onto construction sites, and hopefully some of y'all have seen the Boston Dynamics YouTube videos. They're really quite entertaining. But so is the use case for their technology is also there as well, especially when you're in hazardous locations such as a construction site. And so we've partnered with Boston Dynamics to basically put a scanner or a total station, some of our hardware mounted on top of the dog. And so the dog acts as a transportation device for our scanners and our technology. A lot of that use case is really in the realm of entering dangerous locations. So think of tunneling or mining type of projects. You can send the spot in there and get an updated status of what's going on. It's also doing really well for verifying inspections of progress on a project too. So it kind of goes hand in hand with, I mentioned the virtual reality, both handheld and helmet mounted devices. After you've got the scan, the 3D point cloud, you can look at that and compare that to the design model, what it's supposed to be, compare it to what it currently is, and validate either progress or validate where you need to go if there are errors. So it's really, we are entering a whole new world, and it's pretty exciting. It really is. It's cool.
That is really neat. Wow, so cool. Well, thank you so much, Trevor, for that really insightful presentation. Is there anything, any parting words or anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
I think I just want to say thank you again for the time today. It's really exciting to not only join the association, but also to learn from you all. There is so much going on right now. I'm excited for the attention that the ports are getting. I think it's long overdue. And I also think it's just incredible what you do every day. The amount of, and I also think that, this doesn't get emphasized enough, is, there's just a constant kind of recognition of the backlog, but it's the amount of work that is still done every day is just absolutely remarkable. So if there's any way that I or Trimble can help keep that going or prepare for the next surge, we'd love to help out. So thank you, Paul.
Well, thank you. And one of the things that I'm so excited about, in my job as the Senior Manager of Membership Growth, is bringing in new members like you who have technologies and solutions to offer our members to help with, with such issues, and hopefully we can find solutions to make our industry more efficient and more effective. And whether it's with issues like the backlogs, or just with it, engineering solutions, or infrastructure, or security, or whatever the issue happens to be. There are so many creative companies and solutions out there, and so that's what excites me, is being able to introduce companies like yours to our members. So that's why I'm excited to have you here.
Absolutely. No, thank you,
So
Paula.
it's
Yeah, I love talking about this stuff. It really is exciting. It's yeah, there's change going on everywhere, and there's a lot of different aspects of a port and how they operate. We help in one way, and I'm excited to learn about those other technologies, and maybe we can figure out ways to leverage the combined power there.
Yeah,
it's exciting. It really is.
it is exciting, and things are constantly evolving and changing so quickly. It's you never know. All right. Well, thank you so much, Trevor, for your presentation, for sharing your insights with us. I hope all of our attendees that you gained some helpful insights. Before you sign off, I hope you'll hang in for just a few more minutes so I can share some upcoming events and promotions that I think may interest you. So let me just share my screen real quick. I'm going to steal the presentation from you, Trevor, to show my screen here. And there we go. So we have another webinar. Another new member is going to be presenting themselves in just a couple of weeks. Vision API is going to be talking about just-in-time visibility, deliver the most intelligence to every operator, on October 27th at 1 p.m. So if you found this presentation interesting, hopefully you'll join us for the next one. So mark your calendars for that, and you'll be seeing invites for that in your emails very soon. And then AAPA, we aren't done with events yet. I know we just had our annual convention a couple weeks ago in Austin, and we were really excited to have it in person. We held it safely. You can see the picture here. Haven't heard of anybody getting sick or anything like that. So we're continuing to hold events, and we do it as safely as we can. So our executive management conference is coming up November 16th to the 18th. We have our Latin Congress coming up November 29th through December 1st in Cartagena, Colombia. Our Commissioners Seminar will be December 7th through the 9th. And the Facilities Engineering Seminar and Expo that was scheduled for November in Savannah, Georgia, has been postponed to April 12th through the 14th, still in Savannah, Georgia. So mark your calendars for those. And then we've got lots more events planned for 2022. So stay tuned for the announcements of our 2022 events, which we'll be sharing very shortly. And then you can get those announcements if you have our AAPA mobile app downloaded. It's available on iOS and Android platforms. We pump our news and Twitter feeds through the app. There's in-app messaging, so you can directly message other users. You can create forums. Our smart guide is on there so that you can find contact information for other members on there. Our event information is there. If you have any trouble logging in, you can contact my colleague Renita Gross. Her contact information is right there for you. It's just a really handy tool. So if you haven't downloaded it, I highly recommend that you download it to your phone.
Oh, I downloaded it and it was really cool. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's
good.
really quite useful.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad that you have it and that you like it. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that's it. Like I said at the beginning of the presentation, if you're not a member and you're interested in contacting me, if you're interested in learning how you can get visibility in front of our port members by holding a webinar like this one, or by participating in our events, or having advertising opportunities in our publications, I'm happy to talk to you about those. My contact information is right here, my email address and my cell phone. I'm always happy to talk to you. Or if you're a current member and you want to get more involved, I'm always happy to have those discussions as well. So I just want to say thank you so much again, Trevor, and to our participants. And I hope you all have a lovely day. Take care.
Thanks, Paula.
Take care, Trevor.